Hey everybody, video today on this topic based off of a question from Walker Whitehouse. Thank you for commenting, Walker Whitehouse. And the comment was great, the question was great. The comment was in reference to adding beats or skipping beats or not being able to stay in time possibly during solo, something that that person is struggling with. And I know that they're not alone because I struggle in that same kind of way sometimes. So the question was, what do I do in that type of situation? And I'm going to give you a couple of ideas for today of things that I do. Again, there are way better people that are doing other stuff, and I'm older, so I'm not up on the most recent technology, which, by the way, shout out to my son, my 20-year-old son, who said, "Dad, when you make videos, turn the phone sideways. And when you make shorts, turn it that way, like vertical. Horizontal for videos, vertical for shorts." Genius. Who would know? I don't know. He's 20, so he knew. So thanks, son. Anyway, so what do I do for not losing time in a solo and, when you're improvising and, okay. So the first technique I'm going to use, now this is going to assume that you know the melody of a song really well, because that's really important. And you're able to play that melody basically in time. Okay, so for instance, let me use Triste. It's a great bossa that I love to play. Okay, and then it goes on for the rest of the melody. But I'm able to play that in time. I know the melody, and I've practiced it in time, whether it's with play-alongs, which that's a whole other can of worms to get into, play-alongs. But for me, when I'm learning the melody, probably the first thing that I do, well, when I'm learning a melody and learning how to solo over it, I'll use a rubato technique. Basically, out of time, as if it was like a cadenza. And I would play a whole bunch of stuff that I know over each of the chords. Again, completely out of time, within the harmonic structure or the rhythm structure. But just so I have an idea of things that I can play. And what I'm doing, I'm training my ear to hear those certain harmonic notes over that harmony. Let me give you an example. So Triste starts with the one major chord. And then it goes to the flat 6 major. And then it goes to the flat 2 dominant. So in my case, I'm playing Triste in concert B flat. So it's C major 7, and then it goes to A flat major 7, and then to D flat 13, D flat 7, sharp 11, whatever you want to think of it, but it's got a natural 9. So some type of D flat dominant chord. So if I'm going to use rubato technique on the melody, maybe I'll do something like this. I'll just get that in my ear. Now, if I want to use rubato techniques on the chords, well, it'll be something like this. Now I'm going to change to the flat 6. Change to the flat 2. then I resolve it back because that's the next chord. So that's kind of the rubato technique. Again, it's almost like taking a cadenza on the whole song. You're not worried about time. You're not worried about playing in time. You're just investigating each chord and the harmony that goes with each chord. And that way you can throw alterations in. You could do whatever you want to do on it, but just try to get it in your ear that if someone was listening to you, they would know when you switched chords. So for example, here's again the beginning of Triste, just that little bit with those 3 different chords, and I'll resolve it. So that's how I do the one idea of, and it kind of seems counterintuitive, like I'm playing out of time so that I could play in time. So at this point, let me give you a quote. I had to take a children's dance class when I was at Temple University as part of the music education major. And it was a great class. You know, we learned all these little ideas of children's dances and getting kids moving and all that stuff. But the greater idea, I took one thing away from it that was super important. Children need to be able to move through time before they can move in time. And I'll say that again. You need to be able to move through time before you can move in time. So a little child isn't going to be able to memorize like dance steps necessarily and combinations and all that kind of stuff, but they certainly can bounce around and move around and do all of this movement that's spontaneous. That's really, you know, it ends up being really beautiful. And then when they're familiar with their body as they grow and mature, they're then able to move in time. Now, for some kids, that is a little bit sooner than others, but it's that maturing process. So as a musician, I think sometimes we put the cart before the horse and feel like, okay, I should be able to play at like 200 beats a minute on a swing tune, when in fact we haven't spent the time even investigating the horn enough to know what it feels like to be able to play through time in a rubato setting and just play a beautiful melody out of time. Again, these are my thoughts. Maybe some people agree, maybe a lot of you will disagree, and that's okay too. This is what's worked for me. So rubato technique would be the first idea, and the video is getting a little bit long, so I'm gonna give you the second idea really quickly, and I just put a short up today as well, but this right here, a metronome. I mean, I don't know how else to say it. A metronome. Playing with a metronome and starting very slow and very basic. Very basic. So like, I'm gonna play Triste, but with a metronome on 60, and it's gonna click on 2 and 4. I hope it'll be loud enough. Now, I'm playing Triste like a bossa nova, so it'll be straight as far as the feel goes. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so that's the beginning. Now I'll do an improv just on that little bit of the melody, or that little bit of the song. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. So I started really basic. And then eventually, once you get these basic things under your fingers that are in time, then you could start moving in time and then through time. So moving through time to be moving in time, and then the in time is actually through time. A lot of times there. Anyway, So here'll be the last thing that I do. Eventually, I want to get to this point. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. So by the end, I'm hoping that I can play in time with the metronome. By the way, I was a little bit ahead on the metronome. I hope you heard that, because I certainly did, and it's relatively frustrating. But I'm leaving it in because, again, I'm a work in progress. I hope some of this information might help. So 2 big ideas: rubato technique, being able to play through time first, and then metronome, slow. And that's probably a little bit fast, by the way, for how I should have started. But a metronome, being able to play in time simply with a metronome and intentionally, and then expand it from there. All right, I'm gonna come back with another video at some point this week because I really do want to talk about this whole idea of a cappella playing and not playing with a metronome. All right, be well.